What's going on? Travis here, TravisStetzel.com, TrainAggressive.com, coming at you. Wanted to talk to you about something that I've been blending into my training now for a while, and it's been working wonders. And I call this chaos exposure training. And basically what this is kind of the conditioning portion of my workout. And so most of my workouts over the past year and a half, 2 years now, has always had a strength component to it. So we're always doing some sort of strength work, whether that be through Olympic lifts or just your classic old school lifts like deadlifts, front squats, back squats, all that different stuff. Now with these chaos exposure sessions, what I've been doing is obviously adding into the conditioning at the end, but there's 4 different types of setups that I want to talk about. I'm going to use an example with deadlifts and burpees. All right, so these are 2 different movements here, great movements. Obviously burpees are more conditioning based, body weight based, and then with your deadlifts, there's a lot of different ways you can use deadlifts. So obviously most people, when they think deadlifts, they think just strength. All right, deadlifts can be used for so much more than just strength, and I'm going to talk about within how I set up these different chaos exposure sessions, how you can use deadlifts and mix them with burpees in different ways to get a different training stimulus. All right, so number 1, the first setup that I'm going to go over, and I've listed all the different chaos exposure sessions below this video in the info section, and it lists out the actual workouts that I'll be going over here with these different exposure sessions. So the first one is your classic strength Metcon setup. All right, so with this metabolic conditioning focus, so your focus on these is short, high intense training. Just finish the workout as fast as you can. All right, so these are typically pretty short, 8 to 12 minutes in length, and the setup that we're going to use for this is we're just going to go 4 rounds. We're going to go 12 deadlifts. You want to go fairly heavy with your deadlifts, and then you're going to go 24 burpees. And so you're just going 4 rounds as fast as you can, rest only when you need to, and it's you against the clock. All right, so that's going to build up kind of your just power, strength, endurance, your threshold, lactic acid thresholds, because you're working with some heavy weight and you're throwing in some conditioning there and you're going 100 miles an hour. That's your focus on your classic strength Metcon setup. So that's the first one. The second one that I want to talk about is your Kardio King setup. All right, so this is switching gears here. All right, so we're still using burpees and deadlifts here. However, we're going to add in a run. And so a setup with a Kardio King setup, it could be a lot of different ways, but for this, we're going to load up a heavy barbell for your deadlifts, and we're just going to go 2 reps. So something like 405. So something pretty heavy. You're going to hit 2 reps, and then you might go take an 800-meter run. So now you're working that cardiovascular system, right? And once you start adding in some strength and another movement like burpees, that 800-meter run isn't going to be a sprint. It's going to turn more into, a fast-paced jog. So we're working that cardiovascular system. So we hit an 800-meter run, and then when we get back in, maybe we hit 10 burpees. All right, so we've got 3 different movements there: the deadlifts, the run, and the burpees, all mixed in together. But the focus here is kind of a longer, more endurance-based setup. So that's the second one, Kardio King. Third one that I want to talk about is your grinder setup. All right, these are more kind of physical, mental tests. All right, it's going to be higher volume type of training, lower weights, so we're not going to be lifting as heavy, but there are setups where you can use a heavy amount of weight, for like 2, 3, 4, 5 reps. But for this setup, the way it goes, you just got a list of movements. For this, we're using burpees and deadlifts still, and the reps are going to be a lot higher. So we might start off with 3 deadlifts at a lower weight, so let's say 185, and we're going to go 30 burpees. All right, so you just got to chip away at those burpees. Then we're going to go 6 deadlifts. We're going to drop the burpees down to 25 reps. Then we're going to go 9 deadlifts. And then we're going to go 20 burpees. We're going to go all the way down the line until we get up to 15 deadlifts. So we're going up by 3 reps every single time, and then we're dropping the burpees down by 5 reps every single time. And this type of setup, like I said, it's a grinder. So you just got to put your mind in grind mode and just chip away at the workout. And that's what it's focused on doing. So it's going to build some mental strength. It's going to build some physical capacity, some strength endurance, cardio endurance. All that stuff is kind of blended into your grinders. And these are longer based conditioning sessions here. All right, so those are your grinders. The final one that I want to talk about, that I personally love the best, because you get strategic rest in there, are your interval-paced chaos exposure sessions. And these are just like, or very similar to, your strength Metcons. However, now we're blending in that strategic rest in there. So we can really focus in on going balls to the wall within our interval set. However, it's not always going to be that way, but for this purpose, that's your main focus, is you want to go at 100% during that work period, and then you're going to get that strategic rest. So this really builds up that lactic acid threshold. It builds up your body's ability to kind of buffer that acid with that rest, because over time you can strategically shorten the rest that you're taking within these intervals. But that is your interval pace method. So a workout that we might do with that, we might do 5 heavy deadlifts. So say 5 deadlifts at like 365, and then we will hit 10 burpees as fast as we can. So we stop right when we hit the burpees, and we'd rest for a minute. And then we'd go like maybe 5 to 10 rounds of that little setup. And your focus on that is, let's say the first time you do it, it takes 1 minute and 20 seconds to get it done. All right, so your focus would be, if we're doing 10 rounds, would be to finish the 10th round right around that same time frame. So we're still around 1 minute and 20 seconds. All right, so you're really pushing that lactic acid threshold, keeping that intensity really high, and seeing if your body can keep up by, letting itself recover in that same period of time each time. So a lot of different setups. The 4 that I went over are the main ones that I use, and there's a lot of different ways you can use each one. I've given an example of how to set up each one, and each one is going to kind of challenge your body in a different way and give you a good dose of different training stimuli for each one. So you put those to use, and like I said, I've been using these types of setups with all of my workouts, so I'm always doing some sort of structured strength work first, and then I add in my chaos exposure type training in at the end for the conditioning. And it's more kind of randomized, but it's still kind of systematized, so to speak. So cool setups right there. Use them. And any thoughts, comments, questions that you have, post them up below. And keep going 110% ham, live and train aggressive. Travis, I'm out.